let me see what I can figure out, because I'd love to come to the show, and support you guys. But I know Jennifer will still be working, so I don't know.
That would be great.
But
that would be lovely. But honestly, we care more just about chilling and hanging out with you guys.
Dope. Hell yeah. No, I will text you for sure. Hi, Felice.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. So yes, I will text you, and we will get this figured out. There we go. All right. Nailed it. We'll get this figured out, so that we can make sure that we're all linked up and everything. So yeah.
I'm also sure I'm talking to a friend who is a reporter in DC, and she is saying that more guards are being called in every single day.
Yeah.
Just as a random,
I'm probably going to be heading down there at some point at the end of this week, because it's terrible.
It's time to get arrested again.
Oh, God, don't say that too loud, Jennifer.
Shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry.
Jennifer
I don't encourage it. I don't encourage
if
it.
that happens. Alyssa.
Hello.
Oh, there you are. Hello, friend.
Hey, how's it going?
It's going. Alyssa, this is Laura and Felice.
Hi.
Hi.
So Laura is a stand-up comedian extraordinaire, awesome human being based out of New York City. And Felice is probably the smartest person I know based out of the world. So.
Well, that's pretty awesome. It's nice to meet you guys.
It's nice to meet you.
And
What is your then? I mean, what then would be you would consider like your area of expertise? What do you love to focus and talk about?
Well, a couple different things. I mean, if you're asking me about why I'm running for Congress, I could tell you about that.
Fuck yeah.
All right. Well, to begin with, I'm an Army veteran. I was a flight operations specialist, and I did a deployment to Afghanistan in 2003 when I was 19. And then I was a DoD contractor on Kandahar Airfield for a number of years. I did logistics, and I did airfield management on Kandahar Airfield. And when I was done with that, I was really done with it. And I just wanted to come back to New York and get married and have kids and go to college and just lead kind of a normal life. And I did all of those things. And in 2018, I started to get very ill. And I got my health care at the VA, a place that saved my life and helped me go to college full time. So when I ended up having adrenal cancer called pheochromocytoma. It's very rare. And I got treatment, and I'm fully cured. And I decided, I decided when I got better that I really wanted to give back to VA. So I gave up my disability to go back to work full time. And I had started there in early 2024. I worked for the education department. And in February of this last year, I got fired by Elon Musk, and that really upset me.
Shit.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
And so you're running for Congress in New York's 24th district, which is my district, by the way.
Yes.
And Alyssa, why don't you tell us about who is currently representing?
Oh, boy. Well, her name is Claudia Tenney, but it's the scumbag growth face. He is a terrible
Tell me
person.
how you really feel.
Well, how I really feel is I saw on her Facebook the other day that she posted a photo of herself at a farm. But if you look closely, she's actually wearing a pair of slippers to the farm. Tell me you've never done a hard day's work in your life.
Oh my God. So she literally just came in for the photo op and then bounced?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. Mm-hmm. She also voted to kick 4% of her entire district off of Medicaid.
Love that.
Off health insurance. So, that's going to close a lot of rural hospitals, including the hospital that my own mom goes to. And that's really important to me. Like, I really care about this area. This has been my hometown for a long, long time. I've lived in Lockport and in this district for almost 18 years. And I care about these people that live around here. I've worked with them. They're my coworkers. They're my friends. They're my kids' friends, and this is important. I feel pretty sad that the representative that we have is so rude to people who come to her office. Her staff are terrible. And I just want to raise hell for the next 16 months.
Hell yes. Alyssa, do you have a website where people can go and donate to your campaign? Because unfortunately, the only way that anybody gets elected in this country right now is by raising enough money to be competitive, because money makes this country go round, I guess. So where can people help support you?
It's EllmanForCongress.com. That's ELLMAN forcongress.com. And there's a link to my Act Blue, as well as some of the work that I've done, which includes being on MSNBC a couple of times, over getting fired. I was on their town hall for 100 Days of Trump. And you can go to my website and you can watch my little video that I was on MSNBC. You could also Google my name, and my Act Blue is linked right there.
So we've got 326 people in here right now. If everybody goes, and today is August 19th, if everybody goes and donates $8.19 to Alyssa, we could really kickstart her campaign and get her out there and able to start really taking it to Claudia Tenney, because Claudia is the worst. Felice, Claudia is the worst.
We've talked about, I cannot stand Claudia Bug-Eyed Tenney. And also, I was just looking up, I love to use opensecrets.org. If you ever want to look up your individual congressperson and see where they're taking money from, you can see Claudia Tenney's biggest donor is who? AIPAC. Which
Shocking.
is one of the most concerning. It's truly one of the most concerning things I think that's going on in Congress. I mean, besides the illegitimization of Congress and the transfer of power to the executive branch, I would say what is truly scaring me is watching AIPAC assume so much power in Congress. I don't know if you saw, did you guys see that AIPAC? They're refusing to let any Palestinian children who need Medicare come here on medical care, come here on travel visas. I mean, every day it just gets crazier and crazier.
Not to mention that they're starving children. Hey, Matt, you're a combat veteran. Did you ever have to starve a kid to fight a terrorist?
No. Wow. It's a really weird thing. Never had to do any of that when I was over there.
Never had to do that either. In fact, we handed out loads of MREs and bottled water.
Kind of weird. If you didn't know that Claudia Tenney was getting AIPAC money, a really good hint would have been when her and like 20 other AIPAC money recipients from the Republican side and a handful from the Democrat side all took a 2-week trip out to Israel after Congress shut down to not release the Epstein files, where they sat down and talked with the foreign affairs minister and had little photo ops with Benjamin Netanyahu while they were over there. And I just want to ask Claudia Tenney how many bombs she signed that are going to be dropped on children.
I was literally going to bring up Nikki Haley kissing missiles and signing them. I was going to bring that up.
I just want to know how many she signed. It's a legit question. How many bombs did you sign that are going to be dropped on children, Claudia? That's what I want to know.
Is there a town hall coming up where you can?
Claudia Tenney has been in Congress since 2017 and has never done a town hall in person.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Yeah. Yeah.
I feel like that should be required. Like that is
Same. Yeah.
That to me is required. You have to do that.
Yeah. She's never held an in-person town hall. She's done a couple of phone town halls where, they can screen the questions before asking them.
That's bananas.
Yeah. Yeah, but she's never done an in-person town hall.
There's certain things that I do think that should be required of representatives. That one is you need to do a certain amount of like real town halls every single year. Dave also, what he thinks is no matter what issue is happening, no matter what Congress is voting on, the president does or anything, every single representative needs to put on paper what their opinion is. We have to have an official record of what do you think this is. Because there can't be any more of this like kind of backtracking. But at the same time, I mean, it doesn't matter. We had JD Vance saying, Trump was awful, a few years ago. And now he's happily vacationing on, as vice president.
That dude has spent more time on vacation.
Yeah.
He has done 14 trips.
Yeah.
He's done 14.
Yeah. It's insane.
And he's done, some of them are half diplomatic, but then half leisure. So what he did was like when he went to, I believe it was India, where it was like, yeah, he took a meeting, but the main piece of it was like to spend time with his in-laws.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Good times. We're definitely getting, government spending under control by just allowing JD Vance to travel around the globe and kill popes and stuff. So,
and for the record, at this point, Kamala in her VP career, the only vacation leisure vacation she took was she did a weekend at her home in California to see her husband.
Yeah,
that was it.
Yeah.
At this point in her VP career.
Yep.
That's because it's not about public service to them. It's about what they can get. That's what it's really about. I mean, just take a look at their actions. They can say whatever they want to with words, but when your actions are that you're taking 14 vacations in it hasn't even been 10 months since they took office here.
No,
and can we talk about,
7 months
is that
in.
woman still hostage in Texas? Like, have you been following, they're holding Nicole Collier, who's a state representative in Texas. So if you're like, what the F are you talking about? Those Texas state reps, the Democrats that left Texas to break quorum, to stop the votes that would redistrict Texas in the middle of a 10-year census, they came back yesterday. And basically, when they showed back up at the Texas State Capitol, Greg Abbott told them that they had to agree to sign a contract that they had never read and didn't know about. And it was basically they had to allow a police officer to stalk them 24 hours a day, no matter where they are. And if they did not sign the paper, they're holding people hostage inside the Texas Capitol. And Nicole Collier, who's an amazing, brilliant black woman, look her up, is literally trapped inside the state Capitol being held hostage.
Because she refused to sign the paper saying that she'll have a law enforcement escort everywhere to make sure that she shows back up on Wednesday.
Good for her standing up, man. Who is going to let them do that? I mean, I just can't even imagine being asked to do that.
Yeah, that's Texas Republicans. Gotta love it.
Yeah.
I might have a little clip of her talking last night. They got a hold of her. Somehow they were able to talk to her, I think, briefly last night. And she's... here, let me see if I can find her when they... Oh, here she is. And, I mean, not to be crazy. She's so beautiful. Just saying. Just side note.
Texas House Democrats say she is being held on the House floor indefinitely. Again, Texas Democrats say Representative Collier is not being allowed to leave. They say she is being, quote, detained as a political prisoner on the Texas House floor. Now, again, this story is unfolding. It's developing as we speak tonight since we've been on the air. Just moments ago, Rachel Maddow's show producer Andrew Joyce was able to reach Representative Collier by phone inside the Texas State Capitol. Listen.
today, a quorum was established in the Texas House so that they could continue to do, the business of the House. Once that quorum was restored, the Speaker made an announcement and said that any Democrat who had denied quorum would only be allowed to leave the building if they signed a permission slip agreeing to be under the custody and control of DPS. I refuse. I've just had enough. I've had enough of this bullying tactics that they use against those who are part of the minority party in terms of being the Democrats. They just continue to bully us and run over us. And this is just more of their exercise of power and authority over our ability to challenge them. I mean, I've just had enough. I just said, why would I agree to this? Why do I have to continue to be subject to their control? And so I've had enough, just like the American people have had enough of the Trump takeover and the harmful policies that they've passed in Congress. I'm not going to be part of that process that gives him more reinforcement to harm my community and my people. This is just one little petty way of showing that they have the upper hand. But they didn't realize that I'm just as stubborn as they are, and I'm refusing to back down. I will not allow you to put my people down without a fight.
Love her.
Yeah.
And someone asked what we're talking about. That was Texas State Representative Nicole Collier. She's being held prisoner in the Texas State Capitol for refusing to sign a contract that she can be stalked and followed 24 hours a day by a Texas State police officer.
Yeah,
That is crazy.
Tell me you are all about democracy and freedom without telling me. Tell me
again,
Tell
we're
me
not
again.
federalizing the police force just like Mustache Man did.
Yeah. Yeah, that's great. That's great. This is we're not cooked at all, guys. We're doing fantastic.
Matt, you and I have had this conversation before, and I'm curious to now, because you and I haven't talked about this in a bit. Where are we now in the Tiny Mustache Man's timeline? Like, what year is it now?
Oh my gosh.
So if we're talking like year wise,
Yeah.
hold on. Let me look.
Oh, I have something to contribute to this question.
Go ahead.
Yeah,
Go
I have a
ahead.
history. So I'm super into Western Civ and stuff. Here, let me pull up this article. It's the article I was talking about on my live stream yesterday on the People's Receipts. If it's such a good article, because I was just, talking about Trump meeting his boyfriend Putin and trying to marry him on a red carpet in Alaska. But really, this has a lot of historical, you can... let me just make sure I get the incident right. I believe it was 46. Hold on. And who is it? It's like Neville Chamberlain. Does anyone remember? Here, let me find
Not sure what. I would say that we are approaching.
Here we go.
June 2nd, or I'm sorry, July 2nd, 1934 time frame.
What is that? Yeah,
July
Boris
2nd,
Johnson.
1934 was the night of the long knives.
Oh, I found it. Yeah. Well, that was when that is the Night of the Long Knives is when they unalived the true believers inside the Schmotzy party. Remember,
Right.
they weren't going after opposition.
Right.
The true believers are the rhinos, right? They're the
Right.
real fiscal conservatives. But I found it. So here we go. Much like then, the president's chummy gathering in Alaska on Friday with Mr. Putin, who is now under U.S. sanctions and faces an international arrest warrant for war crimes, has generated ferocious blowback. Some critics compared it to the 1938 conference in Munich when Prime Minister Neville Chamberlain of Britain surrendered appeasement. Remember, surrendered part of Czechoslovakia to Mustache Man, and they were trying to say, is this enough? If we give you this, will you stop now? And that was one of the biggest lessons of World War II, is appeasement does not work.
Doesn't work. Yep. Yeah, no. So I'd say that we are between 1934 and 1938 at the moment.
Love that for us.
Yeah, we're doing great.
Yeah, it's terrible. My story is not as bad, but I did a bunch of press. I went to the State of the Union with Chuck Schumer this year, and afterwards I was invited to MSNBC, and I did some press, and the VA reached out to me and actually offered me my job back. But then they turned around and 5 minutes later sent me a second email that said, but you only get this if you don't talk to the media.
Right.
And I told them exactly where to stick that job. Mm-hmm. And I told them, I actually signed my email in the words of Beyonce, "You must not know about me." I resign now.
Yeah, it's that oh my God, I don't even know where to. Well, I mean, because we've got, on top of all of that happening, we've got more Republican governors sending more National Guard troops to Washington, D.C. Because crime wasn't dropping fast enough, I guess.
Violent crimes only dropped 50% in 2 years. So, who am I to say?
It's still fucking Mad Max dystopian there. I'm trying to figure
overall
out
crime, even petty theft and things, it's dropped 26% in 2 years.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out, because I've spent a lot of time in DC this year.
You have.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out where all of this violent crime and stuff that apparently was making DC this modern dystopian hellscape that was unsafe to exist in was actually taking place. I was trying to figure that out because when I was walking through DC with 3 or 4 other creator friends, just like across the city, like for miles and miles, like there was nothing going on. Like I didn't even see any like dog shit that people didn't pick up. Like people are picking up their dog crap. And so I'm trying to figure out like where this crime was taking place. Cause I haven't seen it. And I've spent a lot of time, and I have friends that live down there that are like, I don't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, crime's coming from the White House. There's actually a lot of crime in the White House.
There's so much.
I walked back from the State of the Union at 2:00 in the morning for like about a mile and a half because the traffic is terrible. Back to my hotel room, and I didn't see a single person out. So, I'm
surprised you made it.
I know, it was harrowing.
Yeah, surprised you made it. I will say there was about 60-something veterans a couple of months ago that caused some trouble, but that'd be the only thing.
Just this old guy and this guy who reverse catfish with a fake beard who's pretending to be 80 but is 40. Yeah, who is that guy? It's
I don't know.
Weird.
Some asshole.
Such a strange guy, like always lurking around DC. They keep seeing him. It's so strange. I was gonna say, like, if you want to, I became obsessed with crime stats the first, when Trump was running the second time and was lying about crime, constantly lying about crime and running on crime, like. Yeah, I mean, we have a new FBI database. I encourage everyone to look, like, in modern 2000 years, look at 2005. This is where crime in the 2000s was exploding. Like, after 2005, I mean, we know poverty is the main driver of crime, right? Mm-hmm. And crime rose as a result of the pandemic. The minute inflation, we got a hold of the economy from 2022, once that terrible oil deal Trump dragged us into, where he released the OPEC reserves. Once all that was over, month over month, from 2022 on, crime has dropped in major cities. And 8 of 10. I love the new Gavin Newsom. Can we talk about that next, Gavin?
Yes.
Well, it's a 29-year-old Hispanic woman who's running that Twitter account, but I mean, like, I live for Gavin. I love it. And MAGA's like, they're bullying Trump. No, this person is literally doing exactly what Trump does to people. And then, of course, MAGA can dish it. They cannot take it. They just keep crying every single day. But before I get off track, so like from 2022, crime has dropped in major cities. And Gavin Newsom was on a rant yesterday. 8 of 10, like crime per capita, it's a rate of per 100,000 is how we, track crime. And the 8 of the top 10 states with violent crime rates, those are red states, right? And when it's urban versus rural, our ex-friend, Mr. Arrow, used to talk, he used to speak about this stuff so beautifully. It's too bad we can't hang around him anymore.
Yeah.
It's a shame because he was really good at it. But yeah, he was. And when it comes to pew-pew crime, right, it's more concentrated in rural areas even than city, right? It has to do with urban versus rural. It tends to be rural red versus blue. It's red. Just look it up. So it's fine. I'm just making that point because I think it's very ironic that crime is dropping. It was dropping in LA. Here comes the National Guard there. Now it's DC, right? But why not Shreveport, Louisiana, where the murder rate is like 6 times higher than it is in San Francisco? It's the strangest thing.
Yeah, it's insane. It's insane. But anyway.
I'm gonna say goodbye. I gotta see if I can prop my head up well enough to get some work done. But it was lovely meeting you all. Have a lovely, lovely day, Matt. Hopefully we get to see you and Jennifer. But if we don't, it's all good.
We're definitely doing
love
this.
To.
We're making this happen.
Let us know because again, we will be driving home on Saturday. So let us know what would be if we can maybe like meet you halfway or something if that's easier.
Absolutely. I will let you know.
All right. You all have a lovely day.
Love you, friend. Take care of yourself. Feel better.
Love you too. Bye.
All right. Bye.
Bye.
Yeah. So.
Tap the screen, everyone. Let's get Matt to 100K and share the live. Alyssa, I have been reading all about you, not to scare you. I just like to read. I do research. You're such an amazing person. I didn't go to get weird in front of everyone, but I just think you're an amazing person and such an amazing contrast to Claudia Tenney. And it's just really great to meet you.
Thank you. I really hope I can bring a different kind of representative to this area that really deserves real representation in government. I just can't imagine that anyone who would meet her would ever choose somebody who's that out of touch in comparison with a working person who literally has lived in this area and worked with some of the most impoverished kids. And I've been working for my community my whole life. And, while Claudia's in her penthouse at the lake, I said the other day, the best thing that could happen for my campaign is that I meet every single eligible voter. And the second best thing that could happen to my campaign is that Claudia Tenney meets every single eligible voter.
Yes.
So true.
That's absolutely true.
You spend money getting her to go door to door, fund her meeting people.
Yeah.
Yeah, that would be a really good way of everybody like, oh shit, no, thank you. No, thank you. No.
She just accepts lobbying money. Like one of her main things every year is when, like Whirlpool and huge companies lobby Congress for, and then she's like, save the washers and dryers. Like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
They spend a week every year saving washers and dryers.
She was up here 2 days ago touring around Novelis, which is an aluminum processing plant here in New York's 24th district, talking about this, what is it, $130 million investment or whatnot that was made to modernize and make everything more environmental, and totally made it sound like this was something that just happened, right? That just happened, and completely glossed over the shit that this was an agreement that was signed under Joe Biden's administration in 2021.
Oh, I'm not surprised at all. Oh, I'm not surprised even a little.
Yeah.
The other day, I went out to a protest in Syracuse for the unions for SEIU and AFGE, who were protesting in front of Syracuse University. And I did a little interview with Spectrum News. Mm-hmm. And when I went to go read the article, the news said, that all of these quotes from what I had said about people being laid off. And then the conclusion to the article was it said, well, actually, they've processed more disability claims since January than they ever have before. And that's true. You want to know why that's true? It's because Joe Biden did a mass hiring for disability claims processors, and those jobs are protected positions at the VA. If they could fire those people, they would.
Right.
But they're not firing them. So yeah, they have processed more, probably because they're scared for their jobs. And,
Yeah. Well, that and, you continue to add millions of veterans into the healthcare system and in the disability system, benefit system through the PACT Act. Like, we're still adding veterans to that.
We definitely are.
Obviously we're signing up and processing more claims than we were 2 or 3 years ago because we added millions of new claims to the system.
Yeah.
Clear.
And they passed a law. I believe it's called the Rudisill decision, and it was a decision in Congress to extend educational benefits for veterans.
Right.
So if you had 2 qualifying periods of service, you could get education benefits based on each one of those qualifying periods of service. Mm-hmm. And so there's a bunch of new claims with that. That only happened in the last year.
Yeah. Let me take a.
Oh, it's Rudisill. If
here.
anyone wants to look that up, it's Rudissill. I murdered it the first time. Thank you for telling me about that, so I can look into it.
Let me real quick. For those of you that just got here, this is Alyssa Ellman. She's running for Congress here in New York's 24th district against Claudia Tenney, who is the absolute worst. We're trying to jumpstart her campaign and get her going. So if you can, go over to Ellman for Congress, Ellman as it's spelled right here in her name, for Congress, .com. And you'll see contribute right there at the top of the page. That'll allow you to go and send, today being August 19th, $8.19 to her campaign, so that we can get some actual, not only good representation, smart representation, but somebody who actually lives in the district representation. What a novel fucking idea.
Like the bar is so low.
Yeah, it's so low. So it's Ellman for Congress, like her username right here, .com. And you can send $8.19 so that they know that that you all came from the live today, and that we are pushing Claudia Tenney out of office. We're going to bully her out of office because that's what I do here.
Fingers crossed.
Well, I can't guarantee I'm going to win, but I can guarantee you for hell for the next 16 months. I am going to be so far up her, you know what? Mm-hmm. And we're going to be doing all kinds of fun things over the next 16 months. We'll be hosting some cool fundraisers. We're hoping for a spooky karaoke. And we're going to be doing all kinds of things to show people that representation doesn't have to look like Claudia Tenney. It can look like fun. It can look like doing a good job. And it can look like doing a good job for everyone. You know?
It could look like not being a liar. Exactly. Like what you were saying. They all learned from Trump, but the way she's, what was I going to say? The way, they're inventing like, oh, I raised these funds or I got this corporate investment. Like this is my new pet peeve. First of all, no, you didn't. Like, I love to do research on that stuff. And it's true. They're just making up stuff and claiming, but also like, you need to tell me how corporations investing in a district is directly going to help people, right? Mm-hmm. Like, is it going to help? Are there going to be a few jobs? Or you tell me. That's the point of capitalism. It's about private profit. Like, if you were telling me, hey, we're a socialist country, and when corporations invest, then we have some equity in that, and we're going to get you some healthcare, okay. Or if they told me, hey, we're going to invade Greenland, which I'm not saying this is a good idea, but because we're all funding the military, so you get equity, and if we get minerals from under the ground, healthcare for everyone. But that's not what they're saying. Like,
no. Let me. Who was it? Egyptian, somebody in the chat was like
Sphinx Egyptian.
Yes,
very
Sphinx
smart
Egyptian.
Person. Sorry,
yes.
Just saying.
Just wanted to ask if there were some crazy things that Claudia Tenney has said, because they pointed out that recently Claudia Tenney has said that DC is a good blueprint for other cities around the country, which of course that's how she feels. She also supported or supports Andy Ogle's amendment to the Constitution to allow Donald Trump to run for a third term. She was the one who introduced the legislation to make Donald Trump's birthday a national holiday. She also introduced legislation, or was a co-sponsor on legislation that would redefine what under the jurisdiction of the United States means when it pertains to the 14th Amendment and birthright citizenship. That's Claudia Tenney, on top of obviously being a shill for AIPAC. She's bought into the 2020 election lies. She just, whatever Donald Trump tells her to do. I say that Claudia Tenney is exactly like Marjorie Taylor Greene if Marjorie Taylor Greene didn't talk as much. That's Claudia Tenney.
That's so true.
Yeah.
There was a video of her circulating around from a lady that works with Indivisible this summer, or maybe it was in the spring, where people were protesting, and this lady found her and videotaped the encounter. And she's talking to her, and she said, "You claimed that I was a paid protester by George Soros. I want to know where my paycheck is." And she said, "I've talked to you enough."
Yeah.
And
oh yeah.
What? You can't even answer that. You can't even be honest about what you said. Like,
no, she won't. She never will. As a matter of fact, I was a part of that town hall that Claudia Tenney said was that nobody that was there even lives in the district, which is rich, Claudia, because you don't live in the district. But I digress. And that we were all just outside leftist agitators paid to be here to cause problems. I was like, that's rich. I've been to her office numerous times. They have my address and my phone number. They know exactly where I live, and I am smack dab in the middle of this fucking district. And so was everybody else that was there. So Claudia Tenney is a coward, who has never once stood for anything that isn't, endorsed or supported by Donald Trump. That she does not work for the people of New York's 24th district. She doesn't work for the people of the United States. She works for Donald Trump, and whatever he says goes.
Okay, I found my favorite crazy quote. Can I read my 3 favorite Claudia Tenney quotes? I found them. I have a file on people, like people, like Congress people. I know, but I can't stand. I was like, maybe I can't find it. I found it. Here's on the 2020 election, she was one of the, the 18, the dead people. I see dead people voting all the time. So this is the quote. And again, this is for educational purposes, and I don't believe this. Some of these things we are finding, for example, 18,000 dead people voted in the state of New York. And the crazy thing about that is other people weren't even saying that. Do you know what I mean? That's not something other people were saying. She's just like, I gotta get in here.
I gotta be a part of this.
Yeah, New York wasn't being contested, and she's just like, I saw dead people in the voting machines too. It's like, so okay, weirdo. She's like, we aren't finding people who vote. We are finding people who voted that weren't registered. We are finding all kinds of fraud. So New York State, and this is I did my own fact check. New York State Board of Elections and numerous fact checkers found this claim to be utterly baseless. The figure appears to have been pulled from a flawed and debunked report from a conservative think tank that simply compared outdated voter registration rolls to death records. Without any evidence, those registrations were actually used to cast any ballots. My other favorite one, she's like a big, she's a, in my opinion, she's a racist. And many other people's
Mine too.
This is a quote. She's really big into the replacement theory. We're bringing in people from all over the world, many of them illegals, who are not law-abiding citizens, and they are going to vote Democrat because it's democratic. Because they were being paid to do so. They want to replace you. They want to replace your vote. And that's what they're doing. And by the way, you were thinking like, oh, that must have been years and years ago. No, that was May 2024. Like, she's
I was going to say, like, that was that was last year, y'all.
Steve Bannon's podcast, like, she's one of the people like on Steve Bannon's podcast. So this will be very telling, Alyssa. Like, if New York 24 chooses Claudia Teddy over you, it will tell me a lot about what's going on.
Well, the reality is that I think there wasn't there wasn't a very competitive race for her. It was a gerrymandered district from last time. It had just been freshly gerrymandered, which means that it makes it a lot more difficult to run. She has personal finances that can really fund her campaign. She's taken money from private equity firms, from billion-dollar companies, from her own family business is a printing company that prints the inserts that go into pharmaceuticals. Yeah. So she's closely tied with pharmaceutical companies, and she has access to millions and millions of dollars. That makes it really difficult to run against her. And honestly, we should talk about her voting record, because you know what? She is the only New York State representative to vote against the Respect for Marriage Act. Yep. And
read that on your website. Not to scare you.
It really upsets me. It really upsets me. My own sister is gay, and she deserves to get married if she wants to do that. Also, she is super anti-abortion, but not in like a normal way, in a crazy way.
Yeah. No, she's out of her mind. She's like remember when okay, not the scaredy one, and no one knows about this because it was like Marjorie Taylor Greene in a broom closet, but they finally let her like run her own like subcommittee, and she did it on like the trafficking of baby organs or something, do you know what I'm saying? Like the real crazy, real pro-life, crazy like, and Claudia Tenney was there. Like there was like 5 people gathered in a broom closet yelling conspiracy theories about the trafficking of baby organs.
Yeah.
Claudia Tenney's like, I'm in here. Like I'm part of this.
I found my people. Yeah. No, she's insane.
Well, I have to. This is what she said about Parkland, because as long as we're getting into how crazy she is, because she's awful. She was the one that called them quote unquote crisis actors or whatever. This is her quote from Claudia Tenney, the representative in New York 24 that Alyssa Eldman is running against. In the wake of the Parkland school pew-pewing, students advocating for pew-pew control were accused by many on the far right of being quote-unquote crisis actors. While Tenney didn't use the exact phrase, she said, quote, "We have to look at the whole machine behind this. There's a protest industry," just like she's calling people that protest against her, paid actors. There's a protest industry. There are people who are profiting off this. George Soros is often involved in a lot of these protests. Yes, that's how George Soros became a billionaire, is handing out money for fake protests.
Yeah.
And people to pretend they were involved in a school pew-pewing.
Right.
Oh my goodness. The bizarro nature of this. And also, you know what? She's screwing a lot of her actual supporters in the district. Like the people who supported her to put her in that position are people like dairy farms, farmers, like those are the local people who are contributing to her campaigns. They are absolutely screwed with in 3 different ways. They got rid of free school lunches.
Yep.
That actually really hurts local farmers, because they buy that food from local farmers.
Right.
They reduced SNAP benefits. That directly affects local farmers. And then on top of that, they deported their workforce.
Yep.
Fruits and vegetables are one thing. Those are H-2A visas that only require people to be in the United States for between 30 and 90 days. But dairy farms, which are the most major industry in New York 24, outside of manufacturing, are really hurting right now, because they are the most likely to employ undocumented immigrants, and they are the ones that need help 365 days a year. Mm-hmm. When you make it impossible for those people to do it legally, you are setting them up to fail. But you're not just setting that person up to fail, you're setting up farms to fail. They absolutely need those employees to be able to function. I mean, I live in Niagara County where there's a lot of farms, and I can tell you right now, there are crops rotting in the fields out here because there are not people enough to pick them. And people should be very aware of it. I hope I can go and meet as many farmers as possible, because I can tell you right now, they're going to respect me a lot more than her. I've mucked a stall before. You know what I mean? Like, I know what it's like to do hard work outside. I lived on a very small farm in the town of Cambria here for 10 years. And it's a lot of very, very difficult work. And I'm a tough girl, but boy, do we need people to do those jobs. I'm just not sure Americans are really willing to do that, unless, of course, he's going to take all the homeless people and put them into forced labor or something crazy.
I mean,
I was about to be like, no, and then I was like, well,
I mean,
I don't know what to say anymore. I honestly don't even know.
Right.
Like
every time I think they've gone far enough, like they take it one step further, I'm like, how are they still, like, it's still going, and it's only been 8 months. It's only been 8 months. We have to win these midterms. We have to win these midterms.
Yeah,
for sure. I just want to say that, like, I appreciate you are solutions oriented, and when you talk about your platform, you talk about the future and what you want to do, like, in your district, and like your connection to your district. I think is beautiful, because I'm in Arizona, a swing state. I think that's really good when you can speak to, like, not again to quote your website, but how you like grew up barefoot, like in that one, like Hamlet, New York. You know what I mean? Like, that's what people want to know is like, hey, I am you. Like, I grew up here. I understand what your needs and wants are, and I'm solutions based, right? Like, I'm not here to condemn you for your support of Claudia Tenney. I can't remember who it was. It was someone in the House who was speaking at that rally on Thursday, for which we should probably talk about, Newsom's eradicate, his bill to redistrict California. Yeah, we should talk about that. But basically said, like, hey, I tell my constituents, like, and union members in my district that are saying, hey, I feel so stupid, I voted for Trump. And she's like, you don't need to feel stupid. He lied to you. He promised you something. He told you, he made you these promises, and you were lied to. And it's like, I think we need to make sure we don't condemn people, and we just say, like, hey, there's a way to move forward together and stop this.
Yeah.
I agree with that a lot. I actually think that sometimes, I don't want to like sit here and say bad things about Democrats, but I do feel that when you have a person with a plan and a person without a plan, even if that plan is a horrible, horrible plan, you're always going to follow the person with the plan. And Democrats need to get it together. We need to have a plan. We need to have a plan and a step-by-step realistic plan to take back this country and to progress our ideals. And without that, I don't know that we're going to be able to win the hearts and minds of people that we need to in order to make change. I'm mad at the leadership across the board because they could have done a better job for us. We deserve more. People around here deserve more. I know people probably in Arizona deserve more. Like, I think that the projection that people are out here like, yay, I get to collect $200 in food stamps is kind of ludicrous. I worked in schools with some of the most impoverished children in New York State. And let me tell you what, I never one time met a parent or a person who was proud to be getting social services or food stamps.
Yeah.
They want to have a job. And maybe, just maybe, if Jeff Bezos could give up one of his yachts, and pay his employees a decent wage, they could pay their own way instead of, they're the real government suckers, our billionaires. They're the real government suckers because they use our infrastructure built by our tax dollars, built by our men. And they use that infrastructure in a way that you and I will never use that infrastructure. They use that to make $1 billion.
Yep.
And the infrastructure we paid for with our tax dollars. Like, if you don't understand, the internet is the largest infrastructure in the world, which we paid for. You as an American, thanks to the rest of the world, we built the World Wide Web, funded by our, partly funded by our tax dollars, which basically, I think it was at UCLA where they did a lot of the work. But yeah, like the internet is infrastructure, and we paid for it.
Yeah.
For sure. And it's not just that type of infrastructure, but also the roads, the electrical grids, the water systems. Those are used in all kinds of manufacturing, and they're certainly used in places like big Amazon warehouses. Think about how much that takes on the electrical grid to cool that. And yet we're here, we're here arguing about whether or not Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk should be paying the same amount of taxes on a dollar as you or me. That's crazy talk. Yeah.
Just equal. Like, their effective tax rate is so much lower than ours. I mean, it's absurd. I want to say, you guys, we're almost to 100K. Thank you so much. Keep tapping the screen. Tapping is clapping. And then use the arrow in the bottom right-hand corner and share the live. If you don't have anyone to share with it, just hit that copy link button and it counts as a share. The more people, this is Alyssa Ellman running in New York 24 against Claudia Gross-Tunney. Like, this is our future, and she is, and you guys know how much, I would not say this if I didn't mean it. She's brilliant. Alyssa's brilliant. Let's support her.
So you can go to Ellman for Congress, as it's spelled right here in her username, ellmanforcongress.com, and make a contribution. Today is August 19th. You can send $8.19 to her campaign. That way they'll know that you came from today's live. We're trying to make her, give her a little bit of a cushion so that she can go out and really make an impact on the district here and oust Claudia Tenney from Congress, because she does not deserve. I don't even think she really wants to be there. She just really likes that corporate.
It's like her birthday. Yeah, she deserves it. And her, you know what I mean? She thinks it's like her birthday. I mean, this is,
it's her
she
birthright.
comes from so much privilege. Yeah. And like Alyssa was describing, she has all these contacts and a steady stream of revenue. She's, her number one donor is APAC. Yeah. She's playing the game. Like, never had an original thought in her mind. As long as you agree to just be a pathological liar in lockstep with Donald Trump, great. That's the only qualification. You don't have to think. You don't have to come up with an original idea. You don't have to work for the people in your district. Just lie for Trump.
Yeah, that's it.
It could not be more true. And she, honestly, if you ever get a chance, anybody who's listening to this today, go onto YouTube and go look up her WPBS interview. Her WPBS interview is so cringy. They're like, did you ever think you were going to become a congresswoman? And she's like, actually, I was studying art in Europe when I was young, and I thought I was going to be an Olympic equestrian. Oh, there's nothing wrong.
Oh, she has a liberal arts degree? No, I'm just, because isn't that the kids? I mean, I can't stand Republicans at this point.
She is sitting there talking about a way of life that not one person in this district is going to identify.
When I was doing dressage with my $1 million, like $1 million per hoof horse,
then the audacity to be on PBS and then get rid of their funding through the federal government. She was happy to sit for that interview.
Yeah.
And she was happy to skeet shoot on video.
I need to go unalive some birds.
Yeah.
Where I come from, when people hunt, they're hunting to subsist. They're hunting to live. They're hunting to feed their kids over the winter. Not skeet shooting at a range and, taking equestrian lessons and studying art. Like, I just can't imagine that any person in this Lake District could connect with her in any kind of way. Like, these people are struggling to feed themselves. They're struggling to pay for basic health insurance. And, it always shocks me that small business owners aren't bigger supporters of universal health care, because my husband and I owned a really little construction company where he was the only employee, and trying to navigate the health insurance system for one person was crazy.
Sure.
I could not imagine trying to do that for 10 or 15 employees. And then you're asking them to pay a third of their paycheck for that. Like, why wouldn't small business owners want that off their plate? Why wouldn't they want to have the government take care of that?
Get out of my head. Do you know how many times I've made this argument? Like, as someone who has a small business, how much like if you really, first of all, let's just give the most basic capitalistic argument. If you're so into capitalism and us all being slaves, then keep your slave labor workforce healthy. Number one rule of capitalism: let the if the slaves are not healthy mentally and physically and can't work, right, that's not good. Why not keep your slaves healthy? And number two is exactly, I say that all the time. If you're so into capitalism, which if you were, there are no free markets without regulation, right? Mm-hmm. Because what we see is crony capitalism and monopolies being built up at the top. There's no way for small businesses to survive in techno-feudalism. But if you love capitalism and building small businesses, how much easier is it if I just can hire people and not be like, oh God, like they need health insurance? Right. If it's already taken care of. And there are studies on this, by the way, like, and how this relates, how much easier and longer people in poverty are able to keep jobs if they already have access to health insurance, right? Because you can get a couple part-time jobs, you have health insurance, especially when it includes mental health care. People are able to stay in jobs longer, take less sick time, all the things. Like, it benefits capitalists and the donor class to provide health care.
It's fear mongering. They try to call it socialism. You got to ask yourself why we don't call our car insurance that we collectively pay for socialism. Why don't we call our homeowners insurance that we collectively pay for socialism? We don't call it socialism because those insurance companies don't have every politician in their pocket. You know, they haven't donated zillions of dollars to people's campaigns to keep themselves in making this kind of money off of everyday Americans. Mm-hmm. And we have to this is part of why I'm running, is because I'm just really sick of people without a backbone who are just money oriented. All they care about is money. And you know what? I don't care about money. I made a lot of money when I was younger, when I was DOD contracting in Kandahar. But that didn't make me happy. You know what makes me happy? Knowing that I'm having a good effect on the people around me, knowing that I'm a positive influence, knowing that like the work that I'm doing is helping people in their lowest moments. That's what makes me happy. And I just think we need to, Democrat, Republican, whatever, we need to bring people back that have character into government and stop putting people in power whose entire career aspirations are about the next step in their political career.
Yes.
You know?
Yep.
Or who are grossly wealthy, you know what I mean? That are grossly wealthy and are there to just grant favors and grease the wheels for the transfers of wealth to the top of the economy. Like, I want public servants, but public servant is not guy with $300 million who presided over the largest Medicare fraud in Texas, Senator Rick, who's pretending to live in Wisconsin and lives in Palm Beach, Florida. That's not who I'm talking about.
It's not. It shouldn't be anyway. But I'll tell you what, it's really expensive to run a campaign. I have found out in the last couple months, it is incredibly expensive to run a campaign. You know, and I believe in this so much, and I want so badly to bring a fight to Claudia and to bring genuine representation to this area that I have invested my life savings into this. And I care a lot about, you know, it's not just about like my neighbor, but it's about my neighbor's children too. Like my kids are going to be growing up and that's going to be their coworker, their spouse, their friend. I want everyone to be taken care of in this area. And, you know, even including MAGA hat wearing red shirts, you know, like I want those people to be taken care of too, because it impacts everyone else around them. When you're living life on the edge like that, where you're just struggling to even know how you're going to pay your electric bill over the winter, those people deserve to have someone who understands what that is like, right, and who can do the most to help them. with empathy, with character, without taking money from APAC, without taking money from billion-dollar companies.
Yep. So Bare Necessity asked, where do we donate? Bare Necessity, if you go, her username is Elman for Congress. You just put that all into one word, put .com at the end of it. elmanforcongress.com will take you right to her page. You can send no less than $8.19 today because it's August 19th. So no less than $8.19.
Can Mom in the chat, I believe, did and said that earlier. Thank you, Can Mom, for the. And I saw that. We really appreciate the support. Like, these are the candidates we need to support. Like, I say this genuinely. Like, that's why, I mean, my live stream is, I'm yelling at generally MAGA men a lot. But I think when you provide simple solutions and the truth and say, hey, like, I see you, I understand you. I always tell people, if I ran for Congress, which I would never would, but I'm saying if I would, you would see a whole different me. Because my district, what are they, like roughly like 35,000 people? It's like my job to fight for those people's lives. And I don't care who you are. I don't care if you're the farthest right to the farthest left. My job is to protect us all.
Yep.
That's what you're going to see me doing, is protecting the people in that district. And that is the message. Like, Claudia Tenney does not give a if people live or die.
She doesn't.
No,
and if I ran for Congress, I don't care who you are. My job is to keep you safe.
To keep you safe and to help you thrive. It's not about being a main character. And I can tell you right now, this campaign isn't about Alyssa Elman's ego. This is about representation of working people, the middle and lower classes here in Western New York and in the Finger Lake region, who so desperately need someone to stand up to this crap. Industry is great, but like, how can we even ask people to go to work if we're not providing them health insurance, if we're not providing them security, if they can't afford to live in their house as a result of that job? What's the point? Like, we have to think about affordability. We have to think about, we have to think about infrastructure. I can tell you one of my ideas is that I would like to extend public school education down to 6 weeks old. And I actually think we could save money doing this. I worked in kindergarten through second grade for a number of years, and then I worked in preschool. And something that I noticed is that kids with disabilities that come in, they get their treatment from Medicaid. They get their physical, occupational, and speech therapy through Medicaid. When you take a 5-year-old who has not seen a therapist or had a diagnosis, and you take that 5-year-old and you give them that treatment, it can sometimes take a couple of years for them to be on par with their peers. But if you go down to a preschool level and you treat that disability at 2.5 years old or 1 year old, that can take a couple of weeks to treat that same disability. If we extended public school education down to 6 weeks,
Deep State got her. Alyssa's making too much sense. The Deep State was like, not today.
Claudia.
Not today.
I just think that imagine being able to take, like, if you have a 2-year-old and a 7-year-old, taking them to the same place and dropping them off at the same school. And in this area, like, we could do that. We have a lowering population of children around here. There are empty schoolrooms in every school in this entire New York 24. Mm-hmm. Why can't we put a baby room in? Why can't we put a toddler room in? And why can't we have qualified personnel teaching them? And I actually think it would also fix the welfare issue. Mm-hmm. No one would have to collect welfare because they wouldn't have to go for minimum wage where they're paying 70, 80% of their income to have their child taken care of by a stranger.
Child care, yeah.
And having to drop their kid off at daycare in one area and their school-age kid off in another area. Yep. It makes no sense to me. And this is about practical solutions for people that will actually work. And we already use public school. Why can't we extend that down? Mm-hmm. There's no reason we can't do that.
Yep.
I was a second grade teacher. I read your website, not to freak you out. And then I was like, I love her. I like texting her. I was like, she's great. Like, I love her. And then I heard you talk and I'm like, man, like, I really love you now. I talk about this all the time. Like, as a second grade teacher, like, I could not agree more. There are studies, and this is just the problem. There are simple, that's why I like Pete Buttigieg. It's like, he'll go on Fox News and just simply explain things, you know? And that's the most dangerous. Like, the way you can calmly just make the argument you just made. And there's statistical analysis to back it up that I always talk about. What MAGA needs to understand is the younger generation, the reason we need to invest in them, because it is their lifetime earnings and that pay for our retirement, right? We just had the largest cross section of America, boomers, retire, right? And now one of the things I love that Kamala Harris was talking about, because I can hear women when they speak, was that the sandwich generation, that now, you know, we have this generation of older Gen Z and millennials that are literally going to be responsible for their parents and for their children all at the same time. And I just wanted to read some of the statistics about the lifetime earnings of when, and this is a statistical analysis of children who have access to pre-K and children who do not have access to pre-K, and how that affects their lifetime earnings. And remember, this matters to you because it is that pool of money that will pay for our Medicare, right, and our retirement. Just understand that. By age 40, treatment group had significantly higher earnings. These are people with access to pre-K, with a 7 to 10% increase compared to the control group. The calculated return on investment was $7 to $12 for every $1 we invest in children to go to pre-K. Our ROI, our return on investment at 40, is $7 to $12. Yeah. By mid-30s, participants were 4 times more likely to have a skilled job. Estimated lifetime's earnings increase is substantial, contributing to an ROI of $4.20 for every $1 invested. Like, and you can go state by state. I'm so passionate about that.
Let me just like put this into perspective. You take 4 quarters and put it into this system, and for every 4 quarters that you put in, you get 8 quarters at least back. Or I'm sorry, you get 16 quarters at least back. For every 4 you put in, you get 16 back. Yeah. Like, there is not a single person on the planet that would look at that system and be like, I don't know, it seems kind of risky to me. I don't know if I want to put that in there.
They just can't do it because of the way that the person looks that's telling them. That's right. It. It's racism, it's sexism, it's inability. And you know what? I think people have an inability to connect with things that are new. Mm-hmm. Change is scary and hard. It's true. I mean, it's true for all of us, but I think some of us suffer with that more than others. And
which is it? Like, you know what I mean? Are people supposed to be pulling themselves up by the bootstraps? Should we make it so people can have jobs? Like, you know what I mean? Like, this is a way, because I'm just saying this to Republicans. You guys are all like, everyone's going to be on welfare until they die. I'm tired of paying for people. This is how people can pay for you. We just explained to you a return on your investment that makes sense.
And, you know, kind of bringing this back to the VA system, right? So people consistently be like, we can't give free health care because then people will become dependent on it. We can't give a universal basic income because we don't want people to become lazy, right? Let me explain
UBI debates.
Let me explain. I spoke last night with a gentleman named Graham Plattner, who is running against Susan Collins for the Senate in Maine. He's a Marine Corps Army vet who was Alyssa. You and I have shared similar kind of stories about our time right after we got out. And he was kind of in the same place. He was depressed. He had no direction. He was just kind of floating through life. He felt like he was a slug on the system, you know? You know, as soon as he started getting help from the VA, right? He got the health care, and then he got his disability claim that took care of some of the financial stress off of him. You know what he did? He then was like, you know what? I'm feeling motivated now. to go out, and he started his own business. So it's almost like if you take these unnecessary stressors off of people's shoulders, right? How am I going to pay for things, and how am I going to stay healthy to do it? If you give them the support that they need, then those people are more likely to go out and reinvest in the community, start their small businesses that everybody talks about, like, we got to support small. This is how you support small business. This is how you fucking do it. You allow people the ability to start small businesses. That's how you do it.
It's very true that people need support in their lives. I almost felt guilty getting free health care for my cancer because it was just like I could just see, like, I have a friend who's a nurse, and she makes amazing money, and she pays a lot for this very fancy health insurance. And about 6 months ago, she thought she had appendicitis, and it turned out she had something way worse, like a blocked urethra from her kidney or ureter or whatever. I don't know the medical terminology. And I mean, she went from being in this great financial spot to owing $20,000 for her health care overnight. It almost bankrupted her.
Yeah.
And
all one, and like medical bankruptcy is the number one bankruptcy, and we're all one illness away from nothing.
Yeah.
I just want to say that, like, if a billionaire is paying less on a dollar, they don't get a say in our government, period. Period. Like, not even a little bit. And actually, they should have to, like, disclose any money that, like, goes through their system that comes into the government. It should be automatically, it should have to be public information, because it's garbage that they, like, somebody who has $1 billion is never worried about a health care, or never worried about, how they're going to put their kids in daycare, never worried about a thing in their lives. Just because you built a business doesn't make you a good person. And I know just so many good people around me that live in this area that deserve to have the very basic human right of knowing that they're not going to be bankrupt if they have a health insurance problem. And I know dudes who go outside, like, my husband is a commercial construction worker, and he puts on boots at 4:00 in the morning, and he leaves the house, and he works outside all day, every single day around here, where it snows sometimes up to your waist. And now he's in a supervisory role, but for many years he was just a low level guy. And I can remember there were times in our lives when I said to him, like, do not jump on that trampoline. If you break an ankle, we're going to be bankrupt.
Right.
And it's like, why should those guys have to worry about that?
Yep.
Why should they have to worry about that? Our government should be taking care of these things. And I know people always make the argument like, oh, the government doesn't do things well, except the things that they do that are like that, Medicare, Medicaid, Social Security, they're very, very popular once they get put into place. And no system is going to be perfect.
Sure.
But, like, if you're helping 100,000 people and 2 people get away with fraud, okay, whatever. I mean, we helped 100,000 people. It's such a crappy argument. It's kind of like, honestly, it reminds me of the argument for Gaza, like, oh, we got to starve everybody there just in case a terrorist gets a morsel of food. It's that same, like, scarcity mentality. Like, I would happily pay a little bit more in taxes to make sure that the next generation of Americans is well educated and well taken care of and has health insurance. And I think most people in this area, provided they can have a good, decent job, and provided that they have the security of knowing that they have health insurance, they would go out and you're exactly right. They would go out and they'd start small businesses, and they would bring new industry to the area. But who wants to do that when you're paying a third of your check to make sure that if you get a cold, you don't go bankrupt?
Right. And I always point to the fact that, like, the golden age of the United States economy was, like, from the 1950s, like post World War II, 1950s through the early 1970s, right? Where the economy was booming, and if you were a white man, you were doing really good. You could survive on, one income per family. People could afford housing, food, vacations. You were able to do things.
Yeah.
And I always point out that everybody's like, we need to get back to that. Like, yes, we do. We need to get back to a system that supports the working class and the labor. And the way that we did that was by taxing the top marginal tax rates an exorbitant amount. The top marginal tax rate in the 1950s through the early 1970s was like 93, 96%, something like that was the top marginal tax rate. The corporate tax rate was 55% at that time. It fluctuated between like 45 and 55%. And you know what's crazy? Do you know what's crazy? There were still ultra wealthy people. There were still uber rich people making stupid amounts of money, being able to do things that nobody else could. But at the same time, they actually, everybody else could survive.
Yeah. Fancy that.
Yeah.
Fancy that, survival. And, that's what we're here begging for, like Orphan Oliver, like, please, sir, give us some more health insurance. Like, we need to demand this shit.
Yeah.
I'm over it. Like, I'm over, like, we can't. Like, no, we actually can. We can. Those are our dollars. They don't belong to the government. They belong to us. And I just think people need to step up. We need more people to run who are not looking to make politics a career.
Yeah.
We need more people to run who just want to bring something good to office and want to serve their communities and want to do the right thing. Like, what happened to people of character? It's just, I also want to say something about rich people back in the day. Like, we look around, we look at places like Rockefeller Center, and we're like, oh, that rich guy did this nice thing. No, he didn't.
Right.
He did it to get a tax break. You're out of your mind. It's because they were taxed at 93%.
Yeah.
That's why they decided to build Rockefeller Center. That's why
they would be, you'd have hospital wings and libraries and stuff named after all these people so that they could get their tax break. But even with them taking advantage of the tax system that way so that they didn't have to, they were still reinvesting it in the communities.
Yes.
Right? Philanthropy actually did some shit. It's like, I'm going to get a crazy, awesome tax break by throwing my name on the side of this building. But at the same time, that building is going to be instrumental in researching cancer treatments.
Oh, my gosh. It's the truest thing ever. I think that after World War II, there was a lot of money that was in the middle class. And I just think that they have, the elite have been at the top plotting to how to get that money back to the top.
Yeah.
Since then.
Yep. That's all it is. Started with Nixon.
Yep.
Escalated crazy under Reagan. And then it's just been a fucking fight ever since. It's just the average everyday person in the United States just continues to feed off of the table scraps of the top 1% while they're exponentially getting more wealthy.
All of the from 1980, we got what, like 25 or 45 years of trailing data now of the never ending transfers of wealth to the top of the economy. And people are like, oh, like, we have to tax the wealth out of the top of the economy. And when we say, oh, we're taxing at 93%, you need to learn about progressive tax rates. It's not all their money. It's just like, hey, everything after $10 million is going to be taxed at the top marginal or whatever it is, right?
Whatever it is.
There's so many myths. Like, every time I bring this stuff up, if you try to debate on TikTok, which is not real debate, it's just people have no idea what they're talking about. MAGA men just have no clue what they're talking about, just yelling their feelings at you. And they're like, well, would you like it if all your money was do you understand? They don't understand top marginal tax rates whatsoever. Or like,
they don't understand the definition of the word marginal.
Yeah, they don't get it. Or progressive and regressive.
I love
my favorite is when they go on lives now and they're like, Well, first of all, we are not bringing in trillions of tariff revenue like Trump continues to lie and they keep saying, but we are bringing in billions, like
Sure.
a couple hundred billion, I think, of tariff revenue, which, if we had made any amount of money that meant something, then we wouldn't be borrowing we wouldn't be borrowing $5 trillion.
Tariff revenue now, Felice? You know how I describe tariff revenue? Because we all know that tariff revenue isn't like extra revenue. It's us paying more for shit. So I explain it like this. I was like, great, take $20 out of your left pocket. Now put that $20 into your right pocket. Congratulations, you just made $20 in tariff revenue.
Or put it in a billionaire's pocket. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, because that's all, that's the truth. You are paying state taxes, you are paying federal taxes, and we have levied a couple $100 billion in tariff revenue, which is just so billionaires don't have to pay a progressive tax rate. Corporations, that's all it is. You're just paying someone else's tax rates, and tariffs are a regressive tax.
Out of your pocket and put it into somebody that makes more money than you, into their pocket, and congratulations, that's $20 in tariff revenue.
Yeah.
That's
Oh my gosh, that's hilarious and could not be more accurate. I was talking to him on the phone the other day, and he told me that he ordered some soccer memorabilia from England.
Sure.
And it arrived at his house. And he said, I think I'm the first person that had to pay this tariff, but on $200 in goods, I paid $150 in tariffs.
Sure. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Well, and look, here's the thing. Tariffs in and of themselves are not bad, right? When you use them strategically in a way that enforces or reinforces the manufacturing already taken place in a country, a tariff can help boost those industries. But when you slap a blanket tariff on anything coming from a country, that does nothing but highlight how little we make in the United States.
Yeah.
Like, that's all it does. Like, I point to, Oswego, New York, has a freshwater port here that imports a ton of aluminum from Canada that then goes over to Novelis, that gets processed and stamped into like car axles and car frames and whatnot. A lot of the automotive industry is getting their aluminum parts from this factory here. 2 weeks ago, a little less than 2 weeks ago, the executive director for the Port Authority in Oswego, New York, his name is Tom Schneider, said that revenue has already dropped by a third. And we haven't even been importing aluminum yet at the 50% rate that Donald Trump threw on Canada. Right?
Yeah.
So up until that went in, we had already seen imports of aluminum dropping by a third. And that was before the 50% tax on aluminum, the 50% import tax on aluminum.
I just think Donald Trump is messing with, at first I thought he was just messing with the markets, like to make himself a lot of money, but I honestly think he's old and he's nihilistic. He's like, I'm going to die in the next 10 years, 15 years.
Taking you all down with me.
I'm going to take every single freaking dollar I can from these poor people who believe in me. And I just cannot imagine voting that badly against my own interests.
Well,
as a citizen,
Felice talks about this. And I talk about it.
I don't want to judge too harshly, but it's just like, how do you think? How can you justify that? Like, I just do not understand the mentality.
It's a Donald Trump came in and said a bunch of shit that people weren't used to hearing, right? He came in and he's like, he accurately highlighted that this system was working against people. He's like, you're paying more for shit and, things are expensive. And they're like, yeah, they are. And he's like, you vote me in and we'll fix it. It was like, yes, New York billionaire is going to come in and fix the economy. Let's go. And then he didn't. But because he continues to say the things that people aren't used to hearing coming out of politicians' mouths, they're like, he's still going to do it. We just got to give him some time. Give him some time any second now. And I'm going to be a billionaire also because, that's the stuff. And Donald Trump. So it's 100% pandering, right? It's 100% pandering. It's 100% buzzwords. It's simple messaging. It's attack politics, highlighting things that everybody thinks is a problem and then getting every other Republican politician to highlight those problems also, and then everybody's just like, oh yeah, we got it. We got it figured out.
Yeah, I'll say this on my steel tariffs and things. Listen, I'm not saying targeted tariffs are a bad thing. I'm just saying mathematically, because Trump's lies made me get interested in it, and in Trump's first term, he saved 1,000 jobs in the steel industry and cost us 75,000. I mean, in the manufacturing, he saved 1,000 jobs specifically in the steel industry around Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and ended up costing us 75,000 manufacturing jobs. He lost 75x the jobs that he saved with his targeted tariffs. I wanted to make sure I was right, because I think, and I want to say this, Trump tries to lie and say, he fired the person working in the Bureau of Labor and, for telling the truth about the jobs adjustments. But in May, they had said that they claimed 125,000 jobs, which, remember, these are surveys, right? So they're reaching out to companies and they're saying, like, how many are you thinking you're hiring? And they're like, here's what we're trying, that's what's happening. That's what a survey is. They're reaching out to large corporations and businesses and saying, how many people are you telling your hiring department to onboard this month? And they're like, the goal is X. And they're adding them all together. And when you started seeing huge adjustments, like people starting to say, oh yeah, we thought this was the goal, but things had changed, was around the pandemic, right? Like, because of things closing and people's businesses violently closing, you saw these adjustments after the fact, which aren't wrong. It's just people are like, hey, yeah, I told you I was in for 1,000 jobs, but like, I'm closing my business. So like, I didn't hire those people. And that's where the adjustments come from. In May, the Trump White House, we're out of the pandemic, right? And I talk about this all the time. If Trump had done nothing, if he just rode Biden's coattails and held the train steady, he would have a beautiful economy. They were projecting 3 more interest rate. He keeps screaming for interest rates cuts to make money cheaper to borrow. He had he had those. There were going to be 3 more this year. It could have all happened before it started messing everything up with tariffs, which Trump admitted several times yesterday and another time that tariffs were like a gut instinct to him.
Right. Like,
there's no mathematical logic to it. And so in May, they said there was going to be 125,000 new jobs added. It was revised down to 19,000. We know in June, I believe they said 147,000 was the projection. It was revised down to 73. We are losing jobs. That's the problem. And we are I always talk about this because I always hear people misuse the term. This is, as of June, we entered stagflation, which is a quagmire of which there is no answer. Normally, if we're losing jobs and companies aren't hiring, then what do? We lower interest rates, make money cheaper to borrow to fuel the economy so jobs are created. But if inflation is skyrocketing because of the tariffs, and that's what I will posit, that because of the tariffs, inflation, there's now another factor that we hadn't previously seen because of blanket tariffs that are causing inflation to drive up. And usually when inflation is out of control and rising, we would hold interest rates steady. So that's the problem. There is no answer. We're in a quagmire and paralyzed by indecision.
Yep.
Oh my gosh. It's just such a nightmare. And it's, oh my gosh. we have to win these midterms. Like, it's not just my seat, but all across the United States, people better step up and vote, because voter turnout is terrible. It's only like 35% in this district. Only 35% of eligible registered voters show up to vote. If 100% of people showed up to vote, we would never be in this situation, because independents plus Democrats equals a win in this district. Even though Donald Trump won by a huge margin, Claudia Tenney won by a huge margin, we could change that. But people have to actually vote. People have to actually get off their butt. They have to register. They need to get involved. And, you know, I hope to bring some fun to office, because it always seems like people are always doom and glooming all the time. And like, while I understand that, I do think it's like important to have happiness in what you're doing if you're serving your community, and have ideas. And, you know, I told Matt this story, but many years ago when I was in Afghanistan, I was sent with a sensitive laptop from Bagram to Kabul, and I had to ride a bus back. So I flew in a helicopter there. I delivered a sensitive laptop, and then I got on a bus, and there were a bunch of newbies on that bus. And as we're driving back, we drive out of Kabul, and there were like 3 cars on the side of the road on fire. And everybody in the bus got really quiet. You could have heard a pin drop. There were like 60 people on there. And all of a sudden, somebody in the back said, "We're all gonna die." And everybody started laughing their heads off, because it was like they were taking the thoughts in every single person's mind and saying them. And the first sergeant stood up and said, "Shut up," and yelled at everybody. But it was hilarious. It was hilarious. And I honestly feel like we're at that moment right now in our country. Like, everything we hold dear, everything we love is on the line. And if people don't show up to vote, I mean, you got to pressure your friends and family.
Yeah.
You got to pressure your friends and family. You got to tell them, hey, what are you doing? Like, are you getting out to vote? Do you need a ride? We need to create infrastructure for people to be able to vote, because clearly they're about to get rid of, they're about to get rid of some of the things that really are going to affect the middle class. You think you're working a job and things are
No middle class.
Yeah, there is no middle class. Agreed. But these people are going to be losing everything that makes us America, that makes us love our country. And I mean, I feel like Donald Trump is doing all of these things, and he's going to turn around and he's going to point and be like, it's Americans' fault. Well, it is. I mean, at the same time, it is our fault. We need to show up. We need to show up for our country right now. We need to show up for our friends and family. And if you don't think you're going to be affected, you are delusional. Mm-hmm. You're delusional. Tariffs are going to wreck this area's economy. The huge portion of our income for New York 24 comes from Canadian tourism. And Canadian tourism is down like 75% this year.
Yeah.
It's so crazy.
Yeah.
I mean,
insane.
you could go into industry, tourism. Because I keep watching Florida. You know, the percentage of Canadians that wintered in Florida is a fascinating study too. Like, it's so interesting because now that's become a Republican stronghold. But tourism is such a huge part of their economy. So, like, how much can they bear of this?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh my God. I don't know. Hold on, real quick. If you want to help our friend Alyssa here, unseat Marjorie Taylor Greene Light out of New York's 24th district, go to Elman for Congress, her username, make that all one word, put .com at the end of it, and you'll go right to her campaign page. You can make a contribution there. Today is August 19th, so no less than $8.19 as a donation to her today. No less than $8.19, so that her and her campaign staff know that you came from this live to make this donation. We need to get Claudia Tenney out of Washington, D.C. She doesn't care about the people of New York's 24th district. She doesn't care about the people of the United States. She cares about what Donald Trump wants her to care about. That's all she's ever cared about. That's all she's ever wanted to do. She doesn't care about enriching the lives of her constituents. She doesn't even care to talk to us. So we need somebody in this district that is actually going to show up for the people of this district. And Alyssa is who I'm throwing my hat in with. So
Thanks, Matt. I really
Elman for Congress.
Not that Matt's opinion doesn't matter, but I would never tell anyone to vote for anyone unless I really looked into it, and I think they're brilliant. Definitely we need to vote for Alyssa.
Thank you, guys. I just want to bring something different to office. I don't plan to be there forever. I want to be home in a couple of years. I'm not looking to stay there forever, but I definitely want to show people what it means to have.
You're not going to die there?
I don't want
Not just going to never leave and die in there while you're voting? Okay.
Oh, no, I'm just trying to have a regular life. That's what I've always wanted. I don't desire to be a politician forever. At all, not even a little. But I just feel like I looked around for somebody who was going to run against her, who would give her a real run for her money. And very few people are willing to do that. Very few people. And I just feel like it's so important that we step up, like regular people step up in this situation and bring normalcy back to government. We don't, I personally think it's less about red and blue and less about black and white than it is about the elite versus the poor. And there's a lot more of us, baby. And we got to step up and take our power back. And, we can sit here and complain. But the reality is if people don't go and vote in these midterm elections, that we're going to get the same old forever. And it's our responsibility, each person's responsibility, to get out there and vote and put pressure on their friends and family to vote. It really is. I went to those protests on June 14th. I went to like 3 different protests, and I was walking around in Canandaigua, and they had a ton of people, like 2,500 people were in the streets. And people were really excited and happy. But I said to them, hey, you think this is awesome? Like your sign, you show up to do this. Let's show up to vote, because none of this complaining matters and none of these ideas matter if we can't get people out to these polling stations, to these voting booths. And if they're going to get rid of mail-in ballots, like we better step it up.
Yep. 100%.
Mail-in ballots. I can't. Okay, because I can read, and I know MAGA can't. So when they tell MAGA to read things, they know they're never going to read them, but I can read. So remember when Tulsi Gabbard released like 164 pages and said that it proved that Obama committed treason? Well, I read those damn pages, and you know what it did prove, which is super ironic, that no voting machines in this country have ever been compromised or penetrated. It actually is a testament to the safety of cyber elections in America, which I find hilarious, because it's like, okay, which one? Because he knows no one was going to read those papers. I'm the idiot that read them. And it's like, okay, so you told us all voting machines weren't safe, mail-in ballot, the machines were taken over, and had the Mike the Pillow guy tell us all these lies. Then when it was time to try to like distract from the fact you're all up in the Epstein files, then Obama committed treason. And then you released these papers and said, this is the proof. And then I read the proof, and the proof is that no voting machines have ever been penetrated, and our cyber elections have been safe the whole time. And now you go meet your weird boyfriend Putin and try to get him to like marry you in Alaska, and it was super creepy. And then like he asking for help, and then the result of that is being like, see, Putin says that what was it? The Ukraine war never would have happened if I won in 2020.
Yep.
And something obviously is going to help him, become some guy who never has to leave office like he is.
Hey, Felice, you said that you were a second grade teacher. Did you ever do those assessments on your kids where you see if they can follow more than a one-step direction?
Talk about like the live streams I do now. It's like, yeah, second graders are much smarter than MAGA, if this is where it's going. But
well,
yeah.
I'm just saying, I just have noticed that a lot of people who are diehard Trumpers can only follow one-step directions. They only look at the onion and they see the outside skin of the onion and they're like, point A, point B, that's it. They don't have that second
sad
of like digging a little deeper and being like, hey, things can be nuanced. Like this thing that I, think is bad. Maybe if I peel back the onion layer a little bit, I will see the cause of this as something deeper, And I just wish that we would teach more critical thinking.
But they want they want the Department of, it's so ironic. Like the only thing providing any equity and equality in education, because our public school system is funded by Jim Crow laws, basically. And then it's MAGA, who are disproportionately underprivileged and uneducated compared to the left. I'm just talking mathematically and I guess, just in my observational experience. And then they're like, hey, we want less opportunity to not be dumb. Like,
Right.
whatever opportunity we had to not be idiots, I want to make sure it's all gone. Don't teach me anything. Oh yeah, and like I have a supercomputer in my pocket, and maybe even if I can't read and I can't do math, there's like a supercomputer I'm on right now that I could use that. And then when Trump just says something, instead of taking it as Bible, I could just look into, do Google fact check : and put those words in, and maybe I could find out something more about it. But I won't ever, for any reason.
Yeah, it's just, I don't want to be insulting to those people, but I don't think that everyone is. I know.
We're here to do it for you. I agree. Yeah. Once you run for Congress, you need to be solutions oriented, but I'll just yell what you're thinking. This is great. We could be a great team.
I don't think we can win just being anti-Trump. I think we have to have actual
100%. Listen, I'm so passionate about that.
Yes,
because there's a lot of people, which I love the fire. I think political TikTok has done this great job of getting people excited to run for Congress. You know what I mean? And I've seen a lot of candidates that are coming out of TikTok. But yes, the thing that scares me and why I love you is because even though it's all true. I'm not saying what they're saying isn't true. If you think going online and trashing Trump and trashing the Republican Party will get you elected, it won't. What you need to do is tell people the plan. You talked about, you got to have a plan. We got to have a plan. The plan going forward. You provide the vision, and then people like Matt and I can tell people that they can't read or write.
Well, I definitely think that, I definitely think that everyone deserves to have representation. And even if MAGA Republicans go to Claudia Tenney's office and ask her for something, I encourage them to go and do that and see what happens.
Yes.
Because I staged a protest in front of her office a couple of months ago, and this is really what pushed me to run. We got out there, and I had an older woman that showed up. I didn't really know her or anything, but they take you in groups of 3 to talk to the staff. And I went in to go talk with this other woman. I had just been fired from the VA, and I was heated, so I wanted to let everybody else talk before I did, so that I could
film it.
I should have filmed it, but if I'm being honest, I had not even remotely thought about running for Congress at that point. But I went in with this older woman. She was 76 years old, and she sat down across from these people, and she said, look, I'm not even very political, but I have an adult son who's in his late 30s, and he has a severe mental illness. I think she said that he had schizophrenia, and he was big and kind of dangerous. And she was like, he lives in a group home. And with all these cuts, I just want to know that my son's going to be taken care of. I just want to know that he's going to be okay. I'm too old to take care of him, and I'm not going to live forever. And I just want to know that he's going to be all right. And that aide pushed a Donald Trump pamphlet across the table to her, looked her right in the face, and said, Claudia Tenney wants you to know she agrees with every single decision that Donald Trump makes. And it infuriated me, because how is that a solution? I mean, it wouldn't matter to me if a person who was the most Republican person on the planet came in there and said that story to me. I would have empathy for that person, and I would want to actually find them a solution. I would want to talk to them about what's next and why I made the decision that I made, not blow them off in that manner. It's disgusting to me. And I left there angry, thinking, how the heck is this public service? That's what those jobs are called, public service.
Yep.
How is that service to the public? Like, it's not MAGA service, it's public service.
Yep.
That's everybody. And it's absolute garbage. And everyone listening right now should be pissed off about that. And in all honesty, I encourage any Republican who is on here watching this right now to go down to your local congressperson's office and ask them for some help for something. If they're not giving you help, if they're not giving you a solution, if their aides are not able to talk to you and hold a coherent conversation with you, vote them out. I don't care if it's a Democrat or a Republican, honestly. Go down to your local office and see what they say if you have a real problem. That's their job. That's their freaking job. We pay them for that. We pay them $175,000 a year to do that job. And look at the way that they
Get pensions after 3 years and healthcare forever. Like, we will pay for Marjorie Taylor Greene for the rest of her life.
Yes. Yep.
And you need to hold those people accountable. It's like on us to hold them accountable. It's on us to vote. It's on us to show up. If we can show up at a protest, we can show up to freaking vote. And
Yes.
any indication what these protests have looked like the last 3 months, it should be an indication that people are going to show up. People are going to show up to this one. And I'm not sure that MAGA is going to be as motivated this next time. Let me tell you. I've noticed at the VA, people have stopped wearing their MAGA stuff.
Oh, sure. I'm going to bring Amanda into the conversation.
Hello, what's going on?
Hi, friend. We are talking to Alyssa Ellman, who is running against Claudia Tenney here in New York's 24th District.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
EllmanForCongress.com. We're looking for donations of $8.19 since it's August 19th. Again, it's Ellman for Congress. It's spelled right on Alyssa's profile. And follow her as well.
Yes.
As soon as I stop my journey, I will head over to EllmanForCongress.com and drop a little something for you.
A little something, something.
A little something.
Alyssa, Amanda down here is also a veteran.
I am.
Alyssa was also in the Army, Amanda.
Oh, nice.
I guess we get to gang up against Matt as Army veterans.
You can try.
Listen.
You can try. I'm just too dumb to know what's going on, so it's fine.
Oh, whatever. I would pick on you for eating crayons, but you know.
That's your loss.
Well,
that's
to be fair,
just your loss. So
to be fair, Matt has graduated to colored pencils.
no, I haven't.
It's horrible for your teeth.
They didn't stick.
You didn't like them?
I didn't like the colored pencils. Too much fiber. So I went back down to crayons.
Okay.
So yeah, no, it's too
Rose
much
art
fiber.
or Crayola?
Crayola, obviously, but I'm also advanced poor, so rose art is usually what I get. Crayola
Advanced poor.
Yeah, Crayola on special occasions. So
Well, like a birthday crayon?
yeah, the birthday crayon, things like that.
Hey, Amanda, what was your job in the military?
I was a 68 Papa, radiologic technologist.
Oh, that was a good job. You got the good job.
It's what I still do now, actually.
Oh, yeah, that's great.
Yeah. What did you?
I was a 93 Papa, so that's flight operations. It's a little bit like air traffic control, but more fun.
Nice.
Be out of the tower and chasing after helicopters on fixed wing air, and it's a good time. I love that job, but I absolutely hated it when I tried to get a civilian job in the States. That's a very boring, overregulated job on an airfield when you're doing it here in the U.S. But if you're doing it in Afghanistan, it sure is a lot of fun.
So, have you ever run for office before, or is this your first go?
Nope, this is my first go. I am not a career politician. That's a big reason why I'm running.
Okay.
I'm pretty angry that we just keep electing the same people, the same type of people. We keep electing, old lawyers and rich people. And I don't think that those people understand what it's like to live a normal life. And I do. I've worked a lot of different jobs. I have worked, I was in the military. I was a DoD contractor. I did logistics on Kandahar Airfield for many years, where I did a lot of organizing of movement throughout the country. And when I came home, I became a special education teacher, and I worked in schools, K through 2 and preschool for special ed.
Thank you for your service and education.
Oh, I loved it. It was a great job. But then I got cancer, and I really couldn't go back to work at that job because it takes a lot of energy, and I was still recovering.
Can I ask you a question about that really quick? Just because I read your website, again, I'm not to creep you out, but I do like to read. So it says on your website it was a form of, you beat burn pit cancer. Was it a result of a burn pit?
Well, technically, it's like burn pit and toxic exposures. I can tell you that I had a really significant toxic exposure in Afghanistan. I worked on Bagram Airfield when I was 19 years old, and we worked out of an old Russian hangar, and behind the hangar was a pile of garbage. A little known fact is that Bagram Airfield, half of the airfield on the other side, is a giant junk pile with old Russian planes. They never show it on TV. I have some photos of it. One day I'll share. And so there's a lot of disposed of things that aren't disposed of properly out there. So we would sit out behind the building and eat our lunches. And one day, some people in hazmat suits, full hazmat suits, showed up to clean up the ground around us. And thankfully, our flight surgeon wrote a letter in each person's file and said, hey, we think this might have been some type of radioactive waste. Our pilots had a Geiger meter out there and it was going crazy. And so, I never, when you're 19, you do not think you're going to get cancer from something like that. You're like, I'm too strong for this. I'll never die. I'm going to live
invincible.
Forever.
Yeah.
Yeah. You just don't think like that. And in all honesty, my cancer was a really, really super rare type. It's called pheochromocytoma. It's like 17 letters long. And it's cancer of the adrenaline gland. And I had a lot of symptoms for a long time before I actually got my diagnosis. And when I finally got my diagnosis, it was because I played Google Doctor for myself. And I found this type of cancer and asked for the testing for it. And
Pheochromocytoma is really rare.
Very, very. And it has a lot of really crazy symptoms with it. I would get so sick. And if I got startled, I would have a sudden adrenaline rush and I would throw up, like projectile vomit. It was really embarrassing and I would sweat. I mean, just all of that. But then, when I got treated, the VA is the one who treated me. And I just want to give a shout out to the doctors and nurses at the VA because they saved my life. They saved my life directly and they saved the lives of lots of other veterans. And a big reason that I'm running is because, burn pit cancer sounds nice on TV and it sounds nice on one of these lives. But guess what? There are a lot of veterans who do not have glamorous disorders. A lot of veterans have severe and chronic PTSD that causes them to be alcoholics, that causes them to have drug addiction issues, that causes them to deal with depression and anxiety for the rest of their lives. And, I feel like if I had to go through cancer, if I had to be sick, that I want to use that terrible thing that happened to me for good. For other veterans, for good for other people. And I knew when I found out that my cancer was not metastatic and that I was probably going to go and be okay afterwards, I knew that I wanted to do something good for my community. And at that time, I just thought, I'm going to work for VA. I'm going to go and I'm going to give back to this system that has done so much for me. I can't go be a doctor, but I can go back and work in the education department and help veterans get their benefits. And in January when I was at 200% production with 100% quality at my job, my mom called me and said, "Are you going to get laid off?" And I said, "They're not going to lay me off. I gave up disability to come back to this job for only like $460 more per month. Like, they're not going to lay me off. That would be the worst thing they ever did, because I'm doing the job of 2 people with 0 mistakes. Why would they do that to me?" They're talking about efficiency. And not even a month later, I wasn't even emailed to be fired. They literally just logged me off of my computer. My immediate supervisor didn't know I had been fired, and her supervisor didn't know I had been fired. And to find out, to be disrespected in that way really upset me. But what upset me more is that I knew that they had laid off other people who, I hate to say it like this, but weren't lucky enough to have cancer where they got their 100% total and permanent disability from the VA. So they laid off people who have that job, and that job pays their mortgage. That job pays for their children to be in sports programs. And I know those people. Like, I actually know them. And it radicalized me. And I decided, you know what, this really upset me. And so I went to Washington, D.C., and I represented federal workers at the State of the Union. And when that was done, I kind of thought I was going to come home and that my 15 minutes of fame was over. And it just kept progressing. I started a political action group in Lockport, and it went from 5 people sitting around a kitchen table to like 300 people in 2 months.
What's your PAC called, Alyssa?
It is called Stand Up Lockport. It's a really great organization. We meet every other Monday, and we come up with a really important thing that we want to deal with the following week. We have an activities group where we design and create protests and political action throughout Niagara County. And we also just in general talk about things that really bother us. I think it's a good venting spot for people, and more people keep coming to this. And now part of my campaign is that my campaign manager and I are going to be teaching campaign school throughout this entire district. So I do want to say that my campaign manager is an awesome guy. His name is Zach Parker, and he has a lot of experience. So we want to be able to take that campaign school and show each of these smaller counties exactly how to update their systems, exactly how to win in these smaller elections, because actually your local election matters a lot more than these federal elections.
It is amazing. And I think there's a lot of people interested in running, but that barrier to entry, like you're saying, is education. So whatever the curriculum that comes of that, and if you can help other people who are thinking about the people on TikTok who are possibly candidates, that is an amazing idea.
Yeah, I just dropped you a follow. I would definitely love to connect with you. I had floated the idea of running for Congress for the midterms, but when I talked to my 2 older kids, they asked that I wait till they graduate high school. So the next general election cycle, they will be out of high school, and I want to run for Congress. So I definitely want to connect with you and keep in touch with you, especially after you win. You can tell me how to win, because I want to take one of these seats here in Florida real bad.
Oh, girl, I will help you with that. I've got the best campaign manager. He is super intelligent. Guy graduated from college, and his mom got laid off by a local union, and it made him really angry. And he decided to run for the Democratic chair of our city, and he won. He won. And he helped to put a bunch of Democrats in place in our city. And then he said, I don't have enough education. I'm going to move to Bucks County, Pennsylvania, and I'm going to learn how to manage swing state campaigns so I can learn all the newest technologies and all of the newest strategies for how to win. And he did exactly that. And he lived there during most of the pandemic. And here's what's crazy is I never knew him before any of this happened. And I just happened to go to a Democratic committee meeting here in the city of Lockport, and we ran into each other. And he had written a 35-page plan for how to beat Claudia Tenney. He had been working on it for 2 years.
Damn, look at that.
Yeah, he said, all I need is a really good candidate, and I am really hoping that you will take this opportunity to do it. And at first I was kind of like, ugh, because I too have older teenagers who are in 11th grade this year. And But I spoke with my family, and, you know, now that the government fired me, I got 18 hours a day to devote myself to this. And I felt like I would be letting myself down and my community down if I did not throw myself into this to do the right thing and to set the example. And, you know, this is a deeply red district. It's going to be a really hard fight. I know it's going to be a really hard fight. But sometimes things are still worth doing, even if they're hard.
Heck yeah.
There's a lot of good that can come from this campaign, and it's not just winning. We can pave the way for every future Democrat in this area. We can show people their newest technologies. We can show people exactly the steps that they have to take in order to win a local election, how to knock door to door, how to go over petitions, the exact process that we need. And in fact, we are currently teaching campaign school. We taught our first class last night at Stand Up Lockport.
Set up like a Patreon and like, dude, I'm sure there's a lot of people online all over the country that would want to. I was reading like one thing I like that's happening in national elections, like you said, you were like, you need to like put pressure on your family members to vote. And, you know, in national campaigns, they're using this new software where you can basically use people's phone contacts to as a tree to contact friends and family, because statistical analysis shows if you tell someone to register to vote and that person that tells you you are familiar with is a coworker, someone you see at church, is a friend, is a family member, they are like exponentially more likely to register to vote. You create like a campaign plan or a voting plan with them to get them to the polls and all of these things that produce such a higher outcome. So yeah, like I'm fascinated by all that stuff, and I think what you're doing is really, really important. And I messaged you my cell number too, Alyssa. So
awesome.
however, when it gets time and you need someone to like help stump for you, I'm sure Matt will, but like just let me, like I really believe in what you're doing, and it's been a pleasure to meet you.
Thank you so much. I just, I looked in the mirror and I was like, am I going to really do this thing? Like, I really have never, the truth is I never thought about being a politician in my whole life, ever. It never even occurred to me. Because I really love working with people. I love impacting people's lives in a positive way. And, but I'm just so disgusted with the people that we put forward to be in our government. I'm so disgusted with it that I had to just do something. I had to do something. And I just want to step up in this time when I see that, like, if we don't step up, if people, regular, normal people like me, like you guys on this live, don't step up and run for things and take risks, we will never change this. And it will be an oligarchy. And we have to fight. Now is the time. We can't take another 2 minutes. We have to fight now. It has to be today. And, I can tell you, the number one way that you can impact an election as just a regular person is that when you're talking to people about things like this, you tell them why you're voting for someone. So when you come across a person, a coworker, a friend, a family member, another person, an indivisible, an Oswego on the bridge, you tell them, hey, I'm going to vote for this person, and this is why I'm going to vote for that person. And when you do that, that is the most impactful thing that you can do to change an election, to sway people's minds. It's not posting another long status on Facebook, and it's not sharing, another article. That does not change people's minds, and it doesn't get them out to vote. But what does is when you say, hey, on this day, I'm going to be going to vote. Do you want me to pick you up? Here's why I'm going to vote. This is why it's so important. And if we can get, 300 people to do that, and they bring another 600 people with them, we can really impact these, especially these local elections, which, even though I'm running for Congress, it's so important that we think about what these local elections, how they have an effect on people's lives.
I love it. I just am so passionate about what you're saying. It's like, that's what the Tea Party did for the Republican Party. You know, they created this bottom up strategy, you know, like, okay, if we can't beat Obama, then let's take every local election seat in existence. And they did. I mean, and that's how we have to see it. Like, we have to claw back every single position in every local, state legislature in the country, because this stuff matters. Like, we have two Democratic senators, we have a Democratic governor, we got a Democratic attorney general, we got all these Democratic secretary of state, but still, when your state legislature, like it is in Arizona, is controlled by Republicans, that's the ball game.
Mm-hmm.
It really is. And it impacts a lot of different things. Like, we were talking about this at our action group last night, but there was a guy who ran a couple years ago. And this is before I knew who my campaign manager was. This was when he was the city committee chair. And he and this man knocked on my door and asked me to sign like petitions and to show up to vote. And I told him, well, are you a Democrat or Republican? He told me he was a Democrat. I said, all right, I'll show up to vote for you. And a couple months went by and it was time to go to that election that night. And I thought, oh, I'm tired and I don't really want to go. And I made myself get up and go and vote. And that night I went to go look to see what the election results were. And that guy won by one vote that night. And I teased him later. I said, I see him sometimes. I'm like, hey, Paul, I'm pretty sure I got you elected. You know, I was just teasing him. But it just goes to show that guy was a retired police officer who ended up helping us get a different ambulance service here in the city of Lockport. And his election probably saved 100 lives in the city of Lockport because we got a better ambulance service. They showed up 10 minutes earlier and it saved lives. So I'm just saying, like, we think about it as, oh, it's just one vote, but that's not reality. Reality is it takes one vote sometimes, and you got to show up.
Tons of one votes. Exactly. I could not agree. Like, we all got to do our part. We got to dig in and do whatever it takes. And it's just going to get harder. Like, that is the Republican goal, is to make it as hard as possible for each one of us to get to the polls.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Honestly, if you're an independent right now, or you need to register, you need to change your registration to Democrat, and you need to vote in these, in the primaries, because the primaries are also important. We got to pick the right person to be the person to run against the people we don't like. And if you're an independent, you can't vote in the primary here in New York, at least.
Yep.
So I'm just saying.
Depends on the state, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And so if you want to have a say, you got to show up. And we can keep pretending that, oh, it's, the government's all messed up and it's everybody else's problem and we are never going to fix it. Or we can step up and we can do something. And, I know that it's going to be a really difficult uphill battle to beat Claudia Tenney. She's got a ton of money. She's got millions of dollars. She's got tons of money from APAC, billion-dollar companies, but it's still worth running, if only to set the example that anybody can do it. Anybody can do it if they really want to. And we can run and we can just give her absolute hell. And of course I want to win. Of course I want to win. But at the same time, we can accomplish a lot of other things as well during this campaign. And if it's just to inspire another 10,000 people to get out and vote, that can actually change, it impacts local elections as well.
Yep. 100%.
Getting me fired up. It's so easy to lose hope, but I always the bigger picture is be on the right side of history. This is going to sound horrible, and I definitely have a little bit of a negative perspective on life, but I take solace in the fact, MAGA, you will be remembered poorly. You are on the wrong side of history. Every single move you make, every time you support this because you're cowards or you don't feel like reading or figuring out what's going on, you are on the wrong side of history. Yep. This is, period. That's it.
And I take a Lieutenant Aldo Rain approach to all of you. where, you can be like, oh, I'm going to take my red hat off and I swear I won't do anything. No. I want people to know what you did.
Yeah.
I want people to remember. I might not take a buck knife and carve MAGA into your forehead, but I'm definitely not going to not let you just disappear from your actions. So
yeah, exactly. Let's never let these people forget.
You're done. Sorry.
That's right. When people say like terrible stuff on our local Facebook page, like for our town, I always comment underneath of it, just know that none of your neighbors, none of your friends, none of the people that go to your small business, and none of the people in this world are going to forget what you said. What you said about this situation. I'm not going to forget, and neither will a lot of other people. And, you're going to whine and complain later when everybody hates your guts. But here's the truth. Like, you're only going to get away with this for so long.
Yep.
And history is going to come back around because we're on the right side. We're on the right side of these problems.
Yep.
And you can, I will never forget. I saw this great meme and it said, people who make $70,000 an hour have convinced people who make $25 an hour that people that make $7 an hour are the problem.
Yes.
No, they're not.
Yeah, that's it.
Good one.
That's a good one. I'm gonna have to end the live because I gotta go pick up my kid from summer school.
Matt has children.
Thanks, Matt. I appreciate
I do have the children. So one last time before we get out of here, everybody go to elmanforcongress.com. So Alyssa's username, make it all one word, put .com at the end of it. You'll see contribute right at the top of the page. Send at least $8.19 today so that she knows that you all came from this live. And we're going to support her in overthrowing this this absolute disgusting regime of Claudia Tenney's here in New York 24 and actually get some sanity and intelligence back into that seat in Congress. So that's what we're doing. Make sure that you're following Alyssa, Felice, and Amanda. Make sure you're following everybody that's up here because all of them they're way smarter than I am, and I'm just happy to be a part of all this. And last but not least, from me, and then I'll let everybody else say their things, remember to find a reason to smile and laugh today because joy is resistance, and we have to use it every chance we get. Felice, final thoughts.
No, tomorrow I'll be doing the People's Receipts again, covering the latest on what's going on, hopefully following the Nicole Collier thing as well. Again, thank you so much, Alyssa Elman. I think you're such a great example of what a candidate should be like. Hopefully the men in your district will be able to hear when you speak. I know some people have trouble listening to women speak, but it's been super refreshing. And these lives are important. It's not always as exciting as when we're yelling at people, but supporting local candidates that are going to be the people in 2026. This is our Super Bowl. This is, not to be, not to exaggerate, but this is our last stand, right? What happens with Congress in 2026, is the most important thing in our lives and our children's futures.
It is literally the future of this country, and we get to decide. We get to decide what that looks like. And you know what? If I hear one person make an excuse to not vote, I am going to lose my mind. Because
I have a list from the last election of leftists on TikTok who said they couldn't get there with Kabbalah. So I'll keep a list for you, and then
that sounds great.
We can do a whole live and just call people out one by one. I still have my 2024 election list.
That sounds great. I just feel like we need to, every person who cares about this needs to pressure every person they know, because
Absolutely.
This is the future of our country. And we can decide where our tax dollars are spent. We can decide if they're spent on things like universal health care and extending public school education down to 6 weeks. And we can decide if they're spent on giving billionaires another dollar. That's up to us. And we got to fight. We got to fight super hard.
All day, every day. Amanda,
Extending
final thoughts?
education down to 6 weeks is so amazing. I'm not even getting over that. Make sure you text me.
Oh, I definitely will. You have a good one. Thanks, guys. I really appreciate it.
Appreciate you, Alyssa.
Hi, Alyssa. It was great to meet you. Thank you, Matt, for having me. Make sure that you're checking out local candidates and check out Alyssa. I'm sure there are other people who would like to help you get involved to run for office. It is never too late. There is always an election every single year. You can always run for a seat somewhere. So get out there and do the damn thing. I love you guys. Thank you so much, Matt. I'll see you later.
Love you guys. Take care. Have a good day. Find a
Thanks,
reason to
Aaron,
smile and
for
laugh
just
today.
donating to Alyssa.